Welcome back to Working with Latex with me, Catasta Charisma, Part 11, the final part of this series on making a tube dress. In this part we shall be closing up the side seams. With the dress folded in half along the shoulders, lay it so the front of the garment sits upon your work surface, with the back of the garment facing you. Fold in the side edges of the back sections towards the center of the work, so as to provide more space between the back side seams and the front side seams, and lay paper under all side seams. Apply a 6mm glue line down all side seams, so on the underside of the rubber for the front and on the face side of the rubber for the back. As always, we let all glue dry and then remove the paper. Take an offcut of rubber at least 3 cm square and coat the underside surface in glue. Allow the glue to dry and just place to one side for the time being. We are now going to piece the side seams. To begin with, fold the front side seam's waistline balance marker over to the back side seam and align with its waistline balance marker. Work to either side of the balance marker for a few centimeters each way, down towards the hem and up towards the armhole. This is a shaping seam, so at various points of our working we are going to have to work from an underside perspective. For the first side seam this isn't too bad, for we still have the freedom of simply opening up the garment, but when we come to the second side seam it will mean turning the work inside out. Don't get stressed at the thought of this. Oh yes, unless you have protected your glue lines by overlaying them with scotch tape or cellophane, etc., and because of the dangling bits of trim at the bottom of the dress, the glue lines are going to get accidentally caught to one another. Accept it. Don't get frustrated. Simply gently prise them apart. After your initial alignment, we are next aiming to align the hip and bust balance markers. So using the principles of alternating our working perspectives from face side to underside ones, peeling back and relaying seams, work your way to these points. Once at the hip region balance marker, continue down to the hemline. Bring the trim at the front of the dress along the back of the hem to the center back seam, the one situated below the zipper slot. Snip off any excess rubber and apply a little glue, around 1 cm, over the end of the trim. While such trim around open edges such as the neckline, armholes and here around the hem can serve a decorative purpose, they also serve to strengthen the rubber, which stretches more around open edges, as well as provide reinforcement over the ends of seams. Once at the bust balance marker, you will only have 3 cm to go to the armhole, so close up the ends there. If you have trim around the armholes, you may need to apply a little glue over the trim so it may overlap upon its neighbour. Stroke the seam down with your fingers before then pressing with a roller, and clean off any residual glue and markings. We now turn our attention to the second side seam and the very last seam in our work, what will finally bring everything together. We work this side seam in the exact same manner as the first side seam, only now we have to face turning the work inside out at times. Everything is going to be cool. When we get into these last stages of working, our dopamine levels can be going through the roof. Not only are we in the flow of motivation to reach the finish line, with the anticipation and excitement of seeing the finished result. But we can also be anticipating disappointment, that we have taken a terrible risk which can increase one's dopamine levels even further. On top of this, we may also be getting fatigued and stressed and our body marinated in a plethora of hormones. We could be a right old chemical soup at this point. You'll want to get cracking. You will want to get the job done. And you may feel a kind of wall being built within you that you feel you have just got to smash through before the mortar sets. But stop. Before you attempt the side seams, take a break. The longer these side seams are, such as with the full pattern dress, or with any work such as dresses with sleeves or catsuits in which these last seams get even longer, and as such the more time you are going to have to spend finishing them, with this churning cocktail cascading through your arteries and jumping across the neurons in your head, the more important it becomes to take a quick break. Go outside, breathe fresh air, swing your arms around, stretch and limber those fingers. Let your eyes focus on points further away than your worktop surface. Lay down, sit back, and listen to birdsong. This is important. You aren't doing this as part of a factory process. You are not being monitored for your time and efficiency. You are not being paid to do this. You are meant to be doing this because it interests you, because you want to learn, because you want a personal challenge, because you want one glorious fucking rubber garment to wear, or see one of your beautiful friends attired within. Give yourself a break. Let the music within you find balance again. For then, should anything go a little wrong in your final tasks, you won't be cursing. You won't be so frustrated as to stupidly tear the garment apart, or want to take your anger out on the world. You will simply see how small a matter, how small the inconvenience was, rectify things, and continue on to the end. Talking of which, finally bring the last bit of trim along the back hem, overlap upon the other trim, and snip off any excess. Press everything, clean everything. The garment is made, but we still have one very last thing to do. Turn the dress inside out, check around the armholes to see if anything needs trimming off around the side seams. Apply a semicircle of glue across the top of the side seam, around 1.5 centimeters deep by 3 centimeters wide. Take the scrap of pre-glued rubber and cut a 2.5 centimeter circle. Cut the circle in half. When the glue is dried on the side seam, place the semicircle of rubber over the seam and press. These semicircles just provide some extra reinforcement over the seam. Wash the garment and allow all glue to fully cure over a span of 24 hours before trying the garment on. You can now feel right chuffed with yourself. Throughout this series then we have taken 2 dresses from individual pattern sheets all the way to fully completed garments. One dress kept to a standard sizing, was shortened and had an Eton collar and rounded cap shoulders included into it. The other utilized the full dress length, was made to measure, and had a mandarin collar and pointed shoulder caps. It was also decorated with trim and snap fasteners. Both dresses had back zippers incorporated. Thanks for watching this series of videos and supporting me in providing this information. I hope to produce many more in the future. If you have any comments or questions, then you can always contact me at any time here, Facebook, or by email, of which contact information can be found in the manual.